Well, good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and I thought as we're now getting into July next week that we would do a quick garden update. And the news is it's been unbelievably hot and dry. We've had about 4 weeks now without any significant rain, and so I am watering basically on a daily basis, or on every other daily basis anyways. My barrels are just about empty, and I had to relent and start using town water, which I hate because it's chlorinated. Anyway, let's go take a quick look around, and you'll notice that quite a lot has changed. Okay, here we go. So there you go, the lettuce is just about done. I'm eating one of those about every 3 days, and these are just coming on. They're not quite filled out yet, but won't take long. Tomatoes are flowering out, and I saw on one of my other plants here my very first tomato. There it is, tucked away in the back. I don't know if you can see that. These poor little things, I don't know whether I'll ever get to transplant them because it is so dry out there. Anyway, they seem fairly happy where they are, so they can stay there for the time being. You'll notice someone recommended I put straw down for the strawberries, and because it's again so dry, I thought I would mulch with straw all over the greenhouse. In fact, all over the garden. Anyway, it is helping, there's no doubt about it. That light colour reflects an awful lot of heat, and it basically keeps any moisture in underneath that straw. So when you put your hand under there, you can still feel the moisture. Now, the beets are getting ready to be picked. It won't be long. And this is, you can see now, the benefit of having two separate crops. You can see these are quite a bit behind, so I will have time to process these. And these are a beet called Cilantro, and they're very sweet and they're nice to deal with. Actually, they're that shape is very easy to work with. They slice very nicely because of that cylindrical shape. The grapevine is coming on there, not as good as the other one, but I don't know why this one's a little slower coming along, but hopefully this year it'll get a good set of roots in there, and we'll see next year. And it's kind of interesting, you know, how long it does actually take for some plants to settle in and you know, till they really come into their own. Now this little baby, you can see we're going to get some nice grapes off this vine this year. They have all been pollinated, and we've got grapes all the way down. Again, more tomatoes. These are doing really well. I think they kind of like a little bit of shade there. It is getting extremely hot in here. These are Leeks and Onions. Haven't transplanted those yet. Again, it's just too dry. So now we are 9 o'clock in the evening, and as you can see by the thermometer, it is still about 22-23 degrees centigrade. Commonly it's 40 degrees in here where that thermometer is, which is about 110 Fahrenheit. Now here is the last potatoes I planted, and of course you can see they're just coming into flower now. And I really like this soaker hose. You just kind of wind it in amongst the bed here, up and down. You just turn that on and let it run. And it waters every bit of the ground without wetting the leaves too much. Now the squash has taken a big leap. They just love this warm weather. There's some Hubbard in here, and some acorn squash. And the pumpkins, these are Algonquin pumpkins. They were sent to me by a subscriber up in Quebec, and they are doing fantastically well. I can see they're going to spill over the sides of the beds quite easily. You can see the raspberries are just starting to ripen up. This is the kind of colour it is. It's a yellow raspberry, and they are absolutely delicious. And you can see the daylilies are just getting ready to burst into flower. Yeah, the onions are doing well. You know, I can never decide whether to bend them over to let the energy go into the ground. I don't know whether that works. For me, I just let them kind of fall over as they do. The bit that I do pick off, if there's a seed pod that I see growing, I will just nip that off because I know that's taking energy out of the root. But other than that, I just kind of let them do their thing. Very few bugs this year on the onions and the garlic. Now the carrots are coming along nicely. Now what I'll do with the carrots when they get to this size is I will very carefully go between those rows, and I'll push a fork in and just loosen that soil up. Carrots are fairly sensitive to that kind of stuff. If they hit some kind of obstacle, a stone, piece of wood, hard piece of earth or something like that, they will change direction. So I like to keep that soil nice and loose to give the carrot room to breathe and to expand. And there you go, the cucumber's just starting up the pole. By the time we're done, the cucumber will be at the top of that pole, and hopefully I'll be picking lots of cucumbers. These are the marigolds I started from seed, and I'm wondering if these are French marigolds. They're not like the usual sort of bushy, shrubby marigolds that you see. Anyway, I certainly hope so. And peas halfway up the trellis, and they're flowering. I've picked my first couple of little peas, and I love them when they're like that. Eat them right in the pod and everything. Perfect. Now these are my reds. These are the ones they put in March, and they flowered. The flowers are all gone, and I will be starting to pick some early potatoes out of these. I'm sure there are quite a few, you know, about maybe, I don't know, 2-3 inches in diameter. Perfect for summer salads. Now this garlic here, I've got a couple not doing too bad, but they're still looking kind of flimsy. I think I'm probably just going to leave those in till next year. And these peas, these are tall telegraph peas, and they're not very tall at all. I'm very disappointed with the way they turned out. These are the same telephone pole peas. They're doing a little better, and I've been watering these on a regular basis, so yeah, I'm not quite sure what the problem is there. As you can see, the asparagus is starting to fern out. This is the newer of the two beds, and I am just going to leave this alone and let it fern out, because that is how the root develops. Now I've had a few asparagus beetle on there, but they haven't been too bad this year. Now this garlic's done a little better, and it looks like it's actually starting to finish off. But the thing I've been really pleased about this year is there has been no leek moth damage. So we got cold enough last year to kill off any of the overwintering leek moth, and that is a joy to behold. I was really hating the leek moth season on my garlic, because it seemed like no matter what you do, you can't stop these little babies, and they get in there, they make a mess. Here's my nettle patch. Still picking the tops off those, and you know, just like any plant, you pick those tops off and they just grow right back again. Little herb garden's doing well. I think I might make some creme de menthe this year. That is unbelievably easy. You get yourself a 40 ounces of 40 proof vodka. Get your mint leaves, crush them up, soak them in the vodka for about 6 weeks. Add honey, syrup, sugar, whatever is your choosing, and wow. And I actually add this mint over here, which is pineapple mint, and boy, does that ever give it it doesn't taste like creme de menthe that you buy in the store. Cilantro's all bolted out and getting ready to seed. Now the chard did very, very well this year. I've been eating lots of it. However, the bok choy, it just bolted. Anyway, you can see the seed pods there, and when those flowers all disappear, I will be collecting those seed pods, and there will be seeds there for trading. This is a heritage bok choy. Anyway, I'm not quite sure whether it was just the hot weather that made it bolt or what, but anyway, always save your seeds, especially heritage seeds. Kale, lots of greens. These dark bitters, they're called, are excellent for your health. They're excellent for your stomach. They help to create bacteria in your stomach, and lots of fiber. And of course, you see the peppers here are starting to flower. Not quite sure why they're not getting taller. Maybe they're just settling in, but anyway, they look healthy enough. I'm pretty pleased with the way they're going. And the raspberries, they definitely needed that deep watering that they got today. They're just coming out into berry, and it was dry in there. So they got them all watered up, and they're looking pretty good. And you can see the Egyptian onion is going to seed. I started off, I don't know if you remember, 2-3 years ago, and there was just a tiny little clump over in this corner, and now they got about 30 or 40 of them, and they're all having babies. Look at that. Anyway, I don't know if you noticed, but we are at the dying embers of the day, and as I say, if it wasn't for the moisture, it would be absolutely gorgeous. The garden is loving it. Anyway, that's got you all caught up to date, and we'll talk to you soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little walk around, and it is amazing what a little bit of heat can do. But as I say, the polarization of the weather is absolutely unbelievable. And you know, a video that I'm going to be doing tonight, putting together tonight, the Yangtze River and the floods in China. Unbelievable. And they still have 10 more days of rain, as we've got 10 more days of dry weather, and of course this is going to just make an absolute mess of all of their fields, their planting. The stuff that's already been in has been washed away. Anyway, I have some pretty incredible footage that I managed to find online, and these are just independent journalists, you know, just regular folk with their cell phones and putting this stuff up on social media, and wow. you are not going to believe some of the footage. And of course, you know, there's a potential that the dam, the Three Gorges Dam, is not structurally sound, and so there's a huge issue there. And this, of course, is a Webbot hit. Cliff High said there would be rivers of water coming out of the sky, and that's what we're seeing around the world. And it's these sudden changes that make it difficult to grow food on any kind of large scale. And you will notice that more and more people will be forced to supplement from some kind of a garden, whether that is growing your own food or sprouting indoors or some kind of balcony garden. We will all have to start adding to our diets if you want to get healthy, fresh greens into your body. And who knows what we're going to do for protein. Beans are an incredible substitute for protein, and funny enough, beans have been one of the things I've had a real issue growing this year. Anyway, I'm hoping to get, I've got some beans soaking right now, and I hope to get those in, and they will get going. But up until now, I haven't managed to get a bean to sprout at all. It's been unbelievable. Anyway, I'm certainly noticing year over year that this weather is getting harder and harder to work with. There is going to be a real priority on getting this well opened up in my backyard so I can have a good constant supply of fresh water. As I said, my barrels are just about empty, and no rain for the next 10 days. That is going to make it very difficult. So I will be supplementing from the city, but that is expensive. Anyone who's on city water or town water knows that it is not cheap to buy water from the city, and it's chlorinated, so it affects the bacteria in the soil, and so I hate to use it too much, but I really don't have any other way of getting a good deep soak into the potatoes and the onions and that kind of stuff, and just let that soak. I've got a soaker hose, and let that run for a couple of hours in each bed, and just do a deep watering. The other thing I want to do before I go is thank all of my subscribers for the things that they sent to me through PayPal, the donations. Believe you me, it was very much welcomed. Yes, we are back to work, but none of us are working at full speed, and so yeah, the income's still a little dodgy for all of us out there, and we are going to be seeing how this plays out. I don't know how these restaurants are going to survive because the cost of food is going up, and basically they are at 50% capacity, and that's what I'm running at in my shop. I'm running about half speed, and so thank you very much. Basically, there's definitely a lump in my throat when I'm looking through some of this stuff and reading some of the notes that people are sending me, because it just restores one's faith in humanity and human nature to know that there are fantastic, thoughtful, empathetic, caring people out there in the rest of the world. Thank you again. Anyway, other than that, things are looking pretty good, so if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe below, and in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.